Hey, what's going on, RC drivers? Welcome back to the workshop. I have some new tech gear you have to check out, especially if you're into the crawler side of the RC hobby. Right here on the bench is Spektrum's new crawler system. It is a censored system, so you know the throttle control is going to be really smooth on this thing, but this is also loaded with a bunch of features, and of course, that's what we're going to talk about today, because this is the spot where you get all the details about new products coming out. If you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, do it right now. I'm sure you're going to find lots of great stuff here on the channel already and coming in the future. All right, let's get into this system now, and let's start off with the speed controller and motor itself. Actually, let me start off with the motor. So this is the censored motor. It's got a great look to it, very Spektrum-like with the orange anodizing and black anodizing. It's got the Spektrum logos etched on here. It even has the motor wire designation as well. On the top of the can is more Spektrum logos, and it says Firma 2100 kV motor. It's got the part number there as well. But there's going to be three different styles of these motors. So there's going to be a 1400, a 2100, which is what this one is, and then a 2800 kV. They're 4-pole motors, centered rotors, and they come pre-wired from the factory. 4mm bullets on the end of the wires, and this is a new style of sensor wired. Actually, I think this is much like their servos. They have servos that you plug the lead wire in, and it's got that similar style of connector, and I've already fitted the connector to the speed controller. It's got a very hard snap into place. The only thing I noticed is it's kind of a fixed length. So, you know, if you need something longer, maybe you would be out of luck. Maybe they're gonna have an adapter, I don't know, but this looks like plenty of wire for most applications. But the build quality of the motor looks great, plenty of holes to mount your motor screws, 1/8 shaft there, because it's a crawler system. I don't think they're gonna have 5mm shafts. Maybe they will in the future, don't quote me on that one, but the motors that they're gonna have right now are the 1/8 shaft, and overall, motor looks great. Over here is the speed controller, and this is what's really loaded with features. But let me start off on the outside. So we got this really cool orange heatsink head, kind of like you see on the other speed controllers that they already have. There is a fan on top. It does include the optional fan. And basically, I think it's there for guys that are gonna be running really heavy rigs. This is a 60 amp speed controller. We'll get into more tech in a little bit, but unless you're running something heavy, I'm not sure if you're really gonna need that, but it's cool that they did include it. It is a waterproof speed controller. I could see some of the gloss from the waterproofing coating throughout the speed controller when you look up really close to it. I really like the jeweled edge that they have, and it's got the smart logo etched in there as well. Just a really nice looking speed controller. It's kind of got the standard footprint for most speed controllers out there. The switch, however, is a little large, and it's good reason. This is also how you go and program it, and I'm going to talk about programming in a little bit, but we've got multiple wires here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wires going from the switch. So this, is more than just a switch, basically. All right, let's move on to the plug. It's an IC3 plug, and as you can see, it's got that telemetry wire running from it, because you could use telemetry with this system, which is fantastic. I'll get more into that. But your standard signal lead here to plug into your receiver, and then the fan is powered externally, so maybe you have to plug that into your receiver or something like that. It doesn't plug into the speed controller. A little bit of a bummer there, but you can see the inputs for the motor wire. It is color coded from the factory, so this is really a plug-in and play system. For those of you that don't want to solder, that already are running IC3 or EC3 connectors, I mean, this is really a drop-in system. So if you're running an SCX 10.3, this would probably be a good upgrade, especially for the ready to run when you're done with that brush system, which I do enjoy actually. But for those of you that want to upgrade, this is a great option. So beyond just the cool features on the outside, there's a lot going on inside, and hopefully I'll cover enough for you. And let's start off with the telemetry, because that's the big deal here. So like a lot of the other Spektrum systems that are out there, with this system, when paired with the correct radio, a smart radio, you'll be able to see the telemetry on the face of the radio. So, you'll see your battery voltage, you'll be able to read temperature, I believe it balance, and there's a couple others as well, but all those telemetry readings that you've been seeing, more and more people using with the Spektrum gear is available through here, which is fantastic. There's also a new drag brake profile, if I understand it correctly, where you could have up to 200% of drag brake. And when you're using a crawler system, you really want that hole when you're descending down hills. And so they've really outfitted this speed controller with a high-end drag brake system. And there's a lot of other functionality as well. You could adjust the punch on here. You could adjust your deadband and your throttle. So, you know, everything that you're going to want in a speed controller, a high-end speed controller for more precise feel from it, you know, and in crawlers it makes a huge difference, is available in here. And it is all programmable, like I mentioned, and there's multiple ways to do it. So there's going to be an adapter, a USB adapter available, so you could adjust it through your PC. There is also the smart programmer here, and I believe this has been used for the air side of things, but it does work on the car side, of the surface side as well. This is the V2 programmer. So this programmer actually comes with a USB adapter to update it, and then it comes with the adapter cord, so you'll be able to plug this into the speed controller in the switch, and you'll be able to go through and when you're out on the trails, be able to go and reprogram something if you need to, which is fantastic because I've been out on the trails I don't know how many times, and I wish I had programmed more drag brake into something. So, you know, whether you're at your workbench or out on the trail, you'll be able to dial in your speed controller with this programming box. Now, it does get a bit better than that. If you have one of the newer Spektrum radio systems and the newer telemetry receivers, there is a new term called text gen, and you'll be able to send or adjust your programming from the radio system to the speed controller, and that's huge. And I haven't set it up just yet. I got to get this dialed into the car, but I am going to do my best to get this thing set up so you guys could see that, because that just sounds awesome to me to not even have to need that and be able to make some adjustments here on the speed controller while you're on the fly through your radio. That's pretty awesome. And Spektrum, I mean, they're making some moves right now. We reviewed the G2 battery setup where you just have to plug the batteries in and LiPo batteries will charge on their own. I think that's fantastic. This is the new DX5 Pro 2021, and this has got some great features. We're going to review this on the channel very soon. But Spektrum is really making some waves here, and you know, this crawler system looks extremely promising. I mean, the look alone looks awesome, and the amount of features that it has for you to dial it in your crawler really looks fantastic. Let me just go over what else comes in this box. I believe the speed controller is going to be available separate. The motors are going to be available separate, and then they're going to be available in combinations. This is a combination that you see here in the box is an instruction manual, some good two-sided tape actually, one for the speed controller, one for the switch, some decals in the box as well, and then a program card so you can get some free swag. I don't know if it's a shirt like this, but the shirt was in my box, and so that's why I'm rocking it today. But I'm gonna go ahead now and install this stuff into my SCX-10 III, or maybe my Capra. I'm not sure. I got both out on the workbench. I want to see the telemetry work, so it might be my SCX-10 III. Then I'm gonna head up to RC Madness, and we're gonna see this thing crawl. All right, I'm gonna get to work. We'll see it in action in just a minute. All right guys, so the firmware system is pretty much set up right out of the box. So let's just do a little bit of crawling here at RC Madness and see how the new system works. There goes that punch. Gives you the extra squirt when you need it. And this ready to run. It's all bound up, it's still working well. But this ready to run, it just has overdrive gears in the front, a little bit of weight on the axles, some Proline KM3s, and other than that, it's stock. It's running on 2S. We got a Spektrum G2 battery in it, so I could use the telemetry features here on the radio. I am using the new DX5 2021, so I could adjust the speed controller from the radio system, which is very cool. But this thing is ultra smooth. I mean, much better than the stock system. I do like that stock ready to run system, but this is very smooth. I mean, I am barely touching the throttle right now. In fact, while we're stopped on the hill, let me just, I think that's the throttle trim. No, let me go back to the main screen. Main screen, there we go. Where is throttle? No, that's steering, this is throttle. There we go. So there, just one little click. It's running on its own right now. Just the throttle trim tweaked. And it's just constant power. Of course, I need to find a little traction. Here we go. There we go. Got it. And that's just running on its own. The tires just wrap around the rocks. That's awesome. Nice and smooth, consistent. This thing. Barely touching the throttle. Nice and smooth. Actually, I'll just give a little tap of the throttle trim just so it goes on its own. There we go. Drag brake works really well on this. Very smooth. I've already checked some of the temperatures we've been running this. Everything is running cold. Don't need that fan on there with the 2S pack. Not a ton of weight on this stuff. Alright, I'm just gonna wheel this thing some more. Come around here to get this wheel up. This thing's supposed to have like a So my test session up at RC Madness with the new Spektrum system went really, really well. But before I get into that, I want to go through the programming box here, because before I kind of just glazed over all the different functions that are available in here, and I think you guys should really know about it. So I'm going to take a few seconds and just scroll through the menu, let you know what's available in there, and give you a few thoughts on what they do have. So you know, it's really easy to hook this thing up, number one. I mean, you plug it right into the switch here. You don't have to unplug everything else. Makes, you know, programming your stuff nice and easy if you do have to use the programmer. And I'll talk about programming it through the radio a little bit later. But, you know, after plugging it in, you just have to hit the select button and it goes over, tells you what firmware is installed in here. And then you can go into the different programming modes. So number one is the running mode, forward, reverse, or if you just want to do forward and brake, you could do that. Number two is the cutoff voltage. Pretty much just leave that as auto cutoff, but you could go in and tune that as well. Number three is TH matching. Now this one kind of stumped me for a minute, but basically what this is like the speed and RPM kind of throttle control. I hope I'm explaining this right. Basically, by changing the setting on this, you could change the feel of it. So in, let's say, low setting, it kind of feels like a brushed motor. It has that sort of throttle control feel to it. And then, as you go up, there's medium and high has a bit more of a stable speed to it. So that is a tuning option you might want to check out depending on how you drive. Number 4 is max forward. You could go scroll through that menu. Number 5 is max reverse. Number 6 is turbo timing. There's the turbo delay, drag brake. That's something I did mess around with. I believe it was set at 80% when I started, and then it has 100%. I moved it up to 100%. You could go up to 200 on there. Oh no, I just backed out of it. There we go. I'm back at it, and yeah, you could just crank this thing up past 100%. Basically, they've gone plaid here, and you could go up to 200%. But like I said, I just have mine set at 100%. You have the drag brake rate. We've got the neutral range that you can mess with. Let's see, punch, BEC voltage. That's something I changed as well since I have a reef servo in here. I went up to 7.4 volts on that. And then you can change the motor rotation as well, which comes in handy for some of those rigs that are out there where, instead of flipping the spool inside the axles, you would have to go in here and change the motor rotation. Then, of course, you could go and restore everything to default. All right, now with that said, let's talk about the performance out there. And I kind of gave you guys a little bit of a driving experience while I was there talking you through some of what I was doing. But overall, guys, this was nice and smooth. I mean, I actually liked the stock system that was in this ready to run. As you can tell, that's what I was running, the axial ready to run with a few modifications to it. I mentioned I've got some weight in there. I've got overdrive gears in the front. I've got an aftermarket servo, but other than that, it's pretty much stock. I even had the stock pinion gear on there, but it crawls super, super smooth. The descents were absolutely awesome, but just, I could just turn up the throttle trim just a little bit and it crawled up with ease. And it instantly impressed me how smooth the throttle was. And usually I'm a guy that just likes to take something out and drive, but that really impressed me, just the smooth consistency of it, and especially on the descents as well. Basically the only issue going downhill was the tires. They were losing traction. The hold on the speed controller was absolutely perfect. It was not letting go with that 100% drag brake in there. Like I showed you guys, you could dial it in way more if you wanted to, and you could tune some other things as well, but I think this is a fantastic drop-in system. Maybe you've got the ready-to-run JLU, maybe you've got a Gladiator, you could go and drop this system in, and any crawler for that matter, and have a very easy time increasing your performance of your trail rig. I think Spektrum really did a great job here, especially if you want to go and upgrade your radio system as well. Like I told you guys, with the DX5 Pro, the 2021, you could go into your radio system here and you can tune everything on the screen. And it is a little bit of a tricky situation to get into it, actually. So you have to go and scroll through the menus on the home screen here, and when everything is hooked up, it will go and see that it is hooked up to the system. You'll see a firma screen, and when you get there, you have to turn the steering wheel to get into the menus. And that's a little weird, but I got used to it finally. And then after that, once you get into the menus, you have to use this to scroll through the menus, and use the trigger as well for changing values, if I remember correctly. One or the other, you have to change the values just using your steering wheel, using the throttle, scrolling through the menu. Trust me, once you do it, you'll get the hang of it, and after a while, it's no issue whatsoever. And that comes in really handy when you're out on the trail. You don't have to carry around a program box, take the body off to access anything. It just makes your experience just a whole lot better. And I think they did a great job here. It's really cool that the telemetry goes through to the radio system as well. It's got the smart throttle, so it's sending the telemetry signals through to the radio system. So again, you can monitor your battery voltage, the temperatures. It makes everything so much cooler, just a better overall experience. And I really had a lot of fun with it. There was really no issues. Again, this is a vehicle with some extra weight on here. I had some overdrive gears, and I didn't notice any overheating or anything like that. I think it's a great system. I think it's pretty awesome, and if you just want something plug in and play, this is a really good way to go. All right, guys, hope you enjoyed the overview of the new Spektrum crawler system. If you haven't done so yet, please click that subscribe button and the notifications bell. Throw the video a like, and let me know what you think about the system in the comments section below. All right, we'll see you back soon for some more RC driver videos.